A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms 10 Best Characters, ranked. Spoilers for A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms. A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms introduces a bunch of wonderful new characters to the world of Ice and Fire, and each of them has a good argument about why they should be the best. As the series is set over only a few days at one tournament location, A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms doesn't have a massive cast. The series is streamlined in just about every way, including the characters to whom it gives screen time. Not a character is wasted, however some get more chances to shine, and while not every character will make the list of top 10, you can be sure just about everyone had a shot. We first meet Daeron in House of the Dragon Episode 1, though we're not sure who he is beyond some drunken lout. If Aegon is the good son and Aerion is the bad one, then Daeron is the fail son. He says as much to Dunk when the knight threatens to kill him for lying about Aegon and Dunk. Still, despite all his failings, Daeron seems to be the most self-reflective of the Targaryens, perhaps in part because he's a dreamer able to see visions of the future. He's an interesting character who is a liar and weak on the surface, but also brave for his willingness to accept the truth about the Targaryens. Sir Arlan of Pennytree is a ghost who doesn't so much haunt a Knight of the Seven Kingdoms as stumble in and out of the series grumbling some intoxicated nonsense. When we first hear about Arlan, he sounds like a semi-neglectful, semi-abusive father figure to Dunk, whom the Hedge Knight nonetheless owes some thanks to. As the series goes on, we start to see that there's more to Arlan. He's as true a knight as you can find, and it's his humble defense of the downtrodden that seems to have influenced Dunk more than anyone. Hopefully Hell remains something of a spiritual guide in A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms Season 2. Aegar Targaryen is an interesting category of Targaryen, and one we really haven't seen before. He's not noble like Baelor or Rhaegar, and he's not cruel like so many others. He's somewhere in the middle. Maekar accepts Targaryen supremacy on the surface, but also seems to recognize that their power is really a facade. We see him as angry, but two of his children have disappeared. At the end of the series, he seems like a good father. He understands Aegon's hatred of Aerion, and admits the only reason he doesn't want Egg to go with Dunk is that he loves him too much. He's a complex character, and an interesting counterpoint to Baelor. Raymond Fossaway is the squire to his older cousin Sir Steffon Fossaway Edward Ashley, and despite his smaller size and age, has more of a knight than Steffon could ever hope to be. Raymond is one of the first friends Dunk makes at Ashford, and has a genuinely kind-hearted and honest man. Egg and Dunk are the important duo at the center of A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, but Raymond and Dunk have a connection all their own. They're pals, and have a lot of respect for one another. When it comes down to it, Raymond proves he has Dunk's back, and Dunk makes sure his lie doesn't hurt his friend. Rafe only appears in one episode, but she makes a big impact. The childhood friend of Dunk, the two kids grew up in King's Landing together, stealing armor from dead knights and trying to survive in the streets. They loved one another so much that Dunk would have left the city if Rafe wanted him to. She's strong-willed, crafty, and dreams of bigger things than Dunk. She's an inspiration to him. It's not easy to craft a compelling character arc in just a third of an already short episode of television, but Ira Parker makes Rafe a rich and tragic figure who goes a long way to explaining why Dunk is the way he is. There have been a lot of great mad Targaryens, but Aerion may be the most fun. He's not unsettling like Aemon Ewan Mitchell in House of the Dragon, or sniveling like Viserys Harry Lloyd in Game of Thrones. He's just cruel and kind of a punk, but you might see why people put up with him. Aerion is a jock. He's dishonorable, but he still fights in the lists, and while he's unwilling to fight Dunk Wananon, he still goes after him during the trial. He's a realistic version of evil. Aerion is someone we've all had the displeasure of knowing, and Bennett makes it hard not to be a little charmed by him. At this point in the history of Westeros, Targaryen power is on the decline. They don't have their dragons and houses Arrent as afraid as they once were to speak their minds about their conquerors. It's Targaryens like Baelor who still feel like they could unite the realms like the old Targaryens. A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms Season 1 has wrapped after 6 episodes, and now it's time to see how these 30-40 minutes stack up against one another. He's noble strong, and most of all understands that simply being a Targaryen doesn't make you special. He goes against his own family in support of a just cause. Bertie Carvel's conflicted performance is fantastic at keeping the audience guessing, and makes his character's fate hit incredibly hard. The pilot for A Knight of the Kingdoms is a bit of a slow introduction to the world. Not very much happens until the final third, when Duncan meets Lionel Baratheon. The Lord of Storm's End has an incredible introduction, and is just the sort of character you need to kick off a new show with some excitement. Daniel Ings is charming, fierce, and hilarious from the start of the series until the end when Hez complaining about the effectiveness of his Meister. Lionel offers Duncan a place in his court, and you almost want Dunk to go with him. Hez a dashing, slightly crazed, secretly noble lord who you can't help but love. One of the 2 stars of a knight of the 7 kingdoms, Sir Duncan. The tall only misses the top spot on this list by a shaved silver hair. Ira Park and Peter Claffey have made Dunk into one of the great underdogs. It's Claffey's ability to make someone so large feel so timid that makes the character. Hez a big, goofy puppy who learns to bark because of the people he chooses to surround himself with, and he never loses his sense of justice despite being tempted to do so often. Dunk is a true hero and a true knight, even if he says otherwise, and is someone you can build a whole franchise around. Dunk is wonderful, but it's Egg who steals a knight of the 7 kingdoms. The youngest son of Prince Maekar Aegon Egg Targaryen doesn't want to be a Targaryen so badly that Hez willing to shave his hair and pretend to be a squire to go on an adventure free of the expectations that come with his name. Dexter Saul Ansel can hold the screen better than most child actors. He doesn't play a kid, he just is a kid. The way he cheers for the jousts, how he cries, and how he teases Dunk are so pitch perfect for a young boy. It's a performance perfectly aligned with what a Knight of the 7 Kingdoms is going for.